Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good morning to you. This is Bill Bullock. Here I am at the Biblical Lifestyle Center, coming to you to share a little bit of Sabbath morning's beauty and holiness in order that we can be uplifted, be lifted into the heavenly realms out of the 6 days of striving into the holiness and the beauty of the King. This is the 53rd episode or installment of our series in this particular year. It is called Walking in the Light. This is our Torah study. This is our time to catch the instructions of the Creator of the universe for how life should be lived upon earth. Walking in the Light is what we call our series this year. And this walking in the light means that we have a choice. We will either walk in light from the Creator himself, or we will walk in darkness generated by the affairs of the earth and by the people on the earth, and by our own Yetzirah, our own inclinations to do evil, to do Ra, Shikat, corruption, and Hamas, violence and cruelty, as opposed to spreading light, hope, and love. Well, this is Parsha Vayelech, and he walked and he went forth afoot. This is all found in one chapter of Torah. It's found in Deuteronomy chapter 31, and all 30 verses 1 through 30 will be our text for the day. Our theme, Walking in the Light, our sub-theme is the quest that we're on to discover the secret wisdom that the Holy One has encoded in Torah's timeless stories. Wisdom he wants us to find. Wisdom for how to live life on earth well, how to live the more excellent way, how to leave the most excellent result and footprint when we leave the world. A quest to discover the secret wisdom that the Holy One has hidden in plain view for all of us to find in the Torah's timeless stories. With this quest in mind and with this great adventure awaiting us, let me ask a few questions to you. A few questions like I do every week to get you acclimated, to help you lift your heads out of the 6 days of striving and the difficulties and the news and all the things going on in the physical earth, and help you transcend and make a little realm travel to go into the heavenly realms, into the courts of the King. Lift your heads and adjust to the light of our Creator and his throne, and all those who sit and stand around his throne and minister to him. There we will join them in progress. Lift your heads, adjust to the light of the King, and begin to acclimate your thinking and your self-talk and your considerations and your meditations to a seventh-day Sabbath level of spirituality in general, and in particular, on this particular Sabbath, to a Yom Kippur state of mind. We are about to a very significant milestone in the King's calendar of how he has ordained us to live according to the time frame which he's ordained us to live upon this earth. Yom Kippur, the day, often called in English of atonement, but the day of enveloping, encompassing, covering of the Holy One, in which he takes us into his arms and returns us to our source. The staircase questions, I call them. That's what we're here for right now. Before we get into the meat of our studies of Parsha Vayelech and the searching for the secret wisdom encoded in these stories, we have staircase questions, I call them, and they're inquiries of ascent to help us to rise higher. First question: what is the substance and tone of your life story, dear one? You have a story. Your life is a story. It is a story that is unfolding moment by moment, day by day, year by year. But what is the substance and what is the tone of your particular life story? Is your life story a tragedy? Is it a comedy? Is it a farce? Is it an inspiring testimony of the goodness and faithfulness and the mercy of the Creator of the universe? What is your story? What is the substance of it? What is the tone of it? That's question number one to get us acclimated. The second question is, now that you know you have a story and it's developing and it can still, part of it's still to be written, where will your story go from here, from where we are right now, this day, this moment? When you're sitting there listening on your computer or your radio, on your car or your television screen, if you're listening to this sound of my voice, from this moment forward, where will your story go from here? What is, if it continues on a current trajectory, where will it take you? What sub-story or what rabbit trail is presently setting the mood and the tone and the direction of your story? What are you distracted by? What are you beguiled by? What things that the world has thrown at you or that your life has seen, what things have you derailed from the real purpose of the story you're supposed to tell? Where will your story go from here? What choices that loom before you now on your horizon, or just beyond the horizon as it may be, what choices that loom before you will determine how well your story will end, how well or how poorly your story will end. And what part will the Torah, the instruction manual of the Holy One for life on planet Earth, what part will the Torah play in the finalization of your story? And what part will the teachings of the Master Yeshua of Nazareth, what part will the teachings of the Master play in your version of just a song before I go, to whom it may concern, borrowing words from Graham Nash and Crosby, Stills, Nash. Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern. What part will the Torah and the teachings of the Master play in the content of that just a song before I go that you sing? So where will your story go from here is the big question. And who will sing it when you're gone? Who will tell your story? Who will sing your song when you're no longer here to do it? These are questions specifically designed to acclimate you to the higher spiritual realm of Shabbat, Shuvah, the Sabbath of returning, of coming back home to the Holy One, of awakening to the mortality factor that applies to us all. See, there are messages coming to us from the Kingdom calendar this week. Today, as I'm sitting here talking to you and you're sitting here listening to me, the Kingdom's calendar is speaking. We are about to approach and enter into a special day, the holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur. That will take place according to the schedule we have Wednesday night at sundown, October 1st, and it will continue throughout the next day through sundown, October the 2nd. That's Thursday. And on this day, what will we do? Well, it says we will deny ourselves. We will afflict ourselves, our souls. And usually it's translated to say we will fast. We will not eat during the 24-hour period. We will not drink. We will not pleasure ourselves in any way or seek pleasure in any way. We will rehearse our death, because dead people don't eat. Dead people don't drink. Dead people don't seek pleasure. We will rehearse the day of our death. And then with that date of death, we will rehearse our actual appearance before the judgment seat of our King. Though that is what we will do, that's what we'll do this coming up. That's our calendar's calling to us. Are you ready for this appointment? Are you ready to rehearse your death? Perhaps to experience it. Are you ready to appear before the judgment seat? Are you ready to be presented with your life and questions about what have you done with it? And what kind of story does your life tell? The second thing about the calendar, what's screaming to us, is this is the first week of the new creation year. The new creation year began last week, Monday to Tuesday, and that was Yom Teruah, or often called Rosh Hashanah. And now we are in year of creation 5786, and we are now in the first week of this new cycle, the new cycle of solar and lunar cycles, and patterns are being formed and foundations are being laid. As we enter the end of the harvest season, on the growing season of the earth, especially the northern hemisphere at least, what happens is the land, the soil is plowed under. And all the growth of the previous year is plowed under and allowed to begin to deteriorate and strengthen the soil for another season of growth. So that's what the patterns are being formed. Foundations are laid, the turning over of the land, the plowing under of last year, and the beginning of a new season of growth. That's what we're in. So are you ready for that? Are you ready to say goodbye to the things that you've seen this past growing season and embrace whatever the Holy One has for you? Are you ready to participate in the program the Holy One has to bring forth fruit from you in the next year? We're also Looking at the calendar, we're also in the 10th week of our studies of Sefer Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy. This is the 10th week. And in this week, in the Torah portion, in the verses of chapter 31 of Deuteronomy, Moshe models for us what it's like to prepare to hear the gavel from the throne in the judgment seat of the Holy One. When the gavel is dropped down, all voices go silent. Only the master, the judge, your voice matters at that stage. Though you may think you had lots left to say, when the gavel comes down, and Moshe will model what that's like for. Be sure before the gavel gets down, you let your song be sung. You let your tale be told. You let your scroll be written and transferred to someone else. Amen. Well, there's an overshadowing revelation at the epicenter of the portion. Verse 14 of chapter 31 sort of sets the tone for the entire one. Sets the tone for what comes before it and sets the tone as well for what comes after. What is this revelation at the epicenter of this parsha? The key factor you must know if you want to understand what this parsha is about and why it says what it says and why it occurs. And we read it when it occurs and we read it. The overshadowing revelation of the epicenter, 31:14 of Deuteronomy. Then the Holy One spoke and said to Moshe, this is a divine appearance in the words of the Creator of the universe himself. And he says to Moshe, Hin karavu yameka lamut. Behold, look, the day you will die has overtaken you, is upon you. The day you will die has overtaken you, is upon you. Yes, we will rehearse our death. This is what Moshe is doing in the entire parsha of Vayelech, and it is our job as well. Moshe is a man on a mission on a day of accountability, ultimate day of accountability, and he is just like you and me as we prepare for Yom Kippur. And Parsha begins, Vayelech Moshe, and Moshe went out walking. Now, if you think about this, to get acclimated to this idea of Moshe going out walking on the last day of his life when he knows he's about to die, that the shadow of death is overtaking him, and the gavel of judgment seat will come down and stop all and silence his voice forever, perhaps. Well, as that takes place, we compare it to another Genesis 3 date. Genesis 3:8. The Holy One came, and they heard the sound. Adam and Hava heard the sound of him walking in the garden. And what did they do? They ran, and they hid, and they covered themselves. But not so Moshe, and hopefully not so us. Moshe walked out. He came forth and joined the Holy One and joined the people and did not hide. Well, may it be so of us as well as we enter into our rehearsal of the day of our death and our appearance before the judgment seat. But you might ask, why does the Holy One have us rehearse our day of death each year this time? Why do that? Why not just believe something once and for all and know you're good and not really worry about it on an annual basis? Why do we keep doing this? And why does the Torah make sure this is a part of our plan? Why does the Holy One have us rehearse the day of our death every single year of our lives? Because it's about more than going to heaven when we die. Yes, it is. It's about more than that. It's about helping us to learn how to face and overcome death's sting on this side of the void. To help us face and overcome death's sting. It's like a mental or spiritual martial art to learn not to fear death. It's also to train us to live, as we live our mortal lives, in constant awareness of the shortness of the time and the opportunity we have to nurture steadfastness and perseverance, to stay always present and always engaged. That's why we do it every year at this time. And thirdly, we rehearse the day of our death annually each year in order that we may be inspired by the process and by the experience to dedicate ourselves urgently to the task of living well-lived and fruitful and world-enhancing lives every day in the face of every challenge that mortal life presents to us. To leave the world better than we found it. Not just skip out and go to heaven when we die. So what is our assignment in the wake of our own individual en carvu? The day of your death is approaching, is upon you, has overtaken you. As we prepare for Yom Kippur, what is our assignment? Well, consider if you die today, or if you died next Wednesday to Thursday. If you died on today or those days, what portion of the purpose for which the Holy One gave you the breath of life and the powers of thought and speech and social and geographical influence, what portion of the purpose for which you were born would remain unfulfilled if you died today or next Wednesday, Thursday? Secondly, consider in whatever time the Holy One determines in his infinite wisdom that you should have left upon this earth. How then can you bless and serve the King? How can you bless and serve your family? How can you bless and serve your assigned spheres of influence and geographical locations where the sole of your foot treads? How can you leave a kingdom legacy? How can you do so most meaningfully, most honorably, most humbly, and most effectively? Well, with that interesting discussion, let us begin our studies in detail by singing the Shema. Join me, if you would. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vayelech. Amen. Listen and hear and heed and respond and resonate, O Israel. Our God is the Holy One. And the Holy One is the ultimate oneness, the unifying unity that draws all things together in orbit around his center of gravity. Blessed be his glorious attributes in his name and his kingdom forever, world without end. Leolam Va'ed. So welcome now to Parsha Vayelech, the Parsha of accountability. Annual and ultimate accountability for the life breath that the Holy One has put in your lungs. Accountability for the gift of speech, of conscious thought, and reducing that thought through your vocal cords and instruments of speech to words and phrases and sentences. The capacity, the accountability for the capacity of thought, of assigned opportunities of impact, and not on families and on generations and on communities and on bloodlines and on geographical regions of earth. Accountability, annual and ultimate. This is the Parsha when we focus upon that as we prepare for Yom Kippur. And in this Parsha we find a call to live like we're dying. Moshe's final day of mortal life is our model, is our example. And Moshe will focus in that last day on earth on passing the covenant baton to someone. And we'll see it will be Yehoshua in the first instance, the priests of his own family. In his second instance, we'll see it go to the elders of the tribes of Israel. In the third instance, we'll see it going to you and to me and to everyone of every generation in the fourth instance. Passing the covenant baton. And he'll do so by writing and studying and delivering the covenant scrolls. And he'll do so by teaching us to sing a covenant song, a song that counterbalances, a song that bookends the song of the sea. The first song that Moshe sang was in Exodus chapter 15. That was the beginning, that was the opening of the opera. Now the closing of the opera will be Deuteronomy 32, which will be next week's discussion. What are the aliot? What are the subdivisions of this parsha? What will be the subject matter of this last day of Moshe's life? Well, the first, beginning with chapter 31, verses 1 through 6, the first aliyah will be that to tell us that Moshe is now 120 and this is his last day of his life. And he will not cross the Jordan River. He will not lead us across the Jordan River. Instead, Yehoshua will lead the people across. Then the second aliyah, verses 7 through 13 of the chapter 31, Moshe will charge Yehoshua, since he now knows who will be his successor, who he will pass the baton of leadership to. He charges Yehoshua, be strong, be bold, for the Holy One will be going with you, before you, alongside you. He tells the nation, he tells the priest, he tells all of us, every 7 years at Sukkot, in the year of release, the Torah is to be read aloud to every man, to every woman, and to every toddling child and other adolescent, everyone in the camp, and even the foreigners in the camp will listen to the entire Torah being read. The third aliyah, verses 14 through 20, the Holy One will manifest. He will have a God appearance, as I like to call it. We will have the heavens touch the earth, and a manifestation of the beauty and the glory of the Holy One will come, and there will be a voice that speaks to Moshe and to Yehoshua. A song will begin to build in Moshe's spirit, and we'll hear more about that next week in Parsha Ha'azinu. Then the fourth aliyah will be chapter 31, verses 21 through 26. And in that, the Holy One will give Moshe instructions, like the final instructions of his life. He will tell him to write the entire Torah, the entire story, the entire narrative of his life and the life that came before him that was revealed to him on the mountain of Sinai, about Abraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov, even before that about Adam and Hava and Noach and Enoch and all those folks of the ancients and also of the patriarchs. He will tell him to write it down, write the entire Torah, and then he will tell him what to do with it, to entrust it to the Kohanim, to the priests, to the Levites, and ultimately he'll also entrust it to the heads of the tribes, for you and me. The fifth aliyah, the fifth subdivision of this parsha will be in chapter 31, verses 27 through 29. And then Moshe will put on his prophet's hat, and he will look into the future, and he will see things that disturb us. And they would disturb us greatly if we did not know the ultimate answer, which we will discuss in a few moments. But Moshe predicts that after his death, something horrible will happen. The nation that he has been leading, their generations will stray. And they will be, as a result, will be dispersed among all the nations of the earth, from one end of the creation to the other. And the Moshe will then remind us, everyone with ears to hear, of the critical importance in light of this great falling away, of staying tuned to and aligned with and empowered by the precious words of the Torah, the empowering words that he gave us to help us live a more excellent life and stay close to him. The sixth aliyah, the final aliyah of the parsha, is chapter 31, verse 31, verse at the end. It's a short segue to introduce Moshe's prophetic song. What is the substance of the song? We'll get the details of it next week in our Parsha Ha'azinu study. But in the meantime, understand it's a prophetic song to call prodigals of all ages, of all generations, of all nations, to call prodigals to make teshuvah, to come back to the Holy One, to come back home, like the prodigal son story, coming back home to the Father, to come back home, to come back to the Holy One as a persona, as a father, to come back to his more excellent way in worldview and in lifestyle and in behavior and in speech, to come back to his more excellent way and to come back to his grand plan for mankind as a species, for redemption, and for creation as an ecosystem, for restoration to Edenic beauty and fruitfulness and shalom, and to sing the song of creation, the personal Torah scroll that we all write about our life as it is impacted by Torah. Those are the subdivisions, at least, of Parsha Vayelech. Moshe's last day on earth, seventh day of Adar. And what are the prominent themes? If you're going to die, and you are, the gavel of heaven will come down and determine the value of your life. Be strong and be bold. Have no fear. Treasure and cherish and live out the revelation in these scrolls of the Torah, and learn to sing the Holy One's song and make it your song in all generations. You will be singing Moshe's song in both portions of it, the Song of the Sea and this Song of Moshe in chapter 32, the bookend portion, you'll be singing it. Remember, Revelation 15, and they sang the Song of Moshe and the Song of the Lamb. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about Vayelech, this parsha that we're discussing this week. It is Moshe's last day and Moshe's farewell tour. Every musical group, every singer, one seems to have a farewell tour going on these days. Well, this is Moshe's farewell tour. And his message, his first theme is, be bold, be strong, have no fear. Moshe knows, you see, soon a shofar will sound. And it will be time to break camp as we know it, to cross the Jordan, to cross over the horizon, as the case may be, and begin a campaign to dispossess the raging nations that have been polluting the land of the patriarchs and its promises with innocent blood and with perversion for centuries. The purpose of the imminent invasion, Moshe knows that as well. It's not either political nor is it ideological. It's not even religious. The purpose of the imminent invasion that we're going to be called to make is to establish a permanent portal of connection between the heavens and the earth, between the realms of the heavens and the earth. A portal whereby the heaven can come to earth and his will can be done and his kingdom can come on earth as it is in heaven. A portal in physical geographical land in the Middle East, on the land bridge between Europe and Asia and Africa, the land that is known as Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. The objective is to establish that land as a permanent portal of connection between the heavens and the earth, to establish the city of Jerusalem at the heart of it as a house of prayer for all nations, as a city set on a hill for all the raging nations of the world, inviting always whomsoever will to come and walk in the light and discover the secret wisdom. If you have a few moments today, you might read Psalm 2. You might read Isaiah 58, 1 through 8. You might read Isaiah 45. You might read Isaiah 60, verses 1 and following. You might read John chapter 10, verse 16. If you got a few moments today. Psalm 2, Isaiah 58, 1 through 8. Isaiah 45, Isaiah 60, John 10, verse 16. Jerusalem should be a city set on a hill, a house of prayer for all nations. Well, now we are in the Parsha itself, and we will see, as we've discussed, Torah's final God encounter, the final download of heaven coming to earth in physical manifestation in the Torah. We also see the final two mitzvot, or instructions for living, that Moshe is going to give. Hakahal is the first one. Hakahel, to gather and read the Torah in the 7th year, in the Feast of Tabernacles, in the year of release, before every man, woman, and child. Make sure there's a perpetuation of the covenant and the knowledge of the way every 7 years. The second mitzvah of Torah will be Kitzvu et ha-shira hazot. Write this minstrel song, write this ballad, and it's been interpreted to mean each individual person should write a Torah scroll. And in that Torah scroll, they should make footnotes of what exactly the Holy One has done in their life. The story, the song. This is my story. This is my song. Well, why does the Holy One want us to do things like this? Why does he give us these mitzvot? Why does he have this appearance? Why is the Torah written the way it's written? Well, the reason is because he understands the fallen state of all human beings, of every nation, tribe, and tongue. The fallen state of every age group and generation. The fallen state of all human beings is, he says, I know his yetzer, I know his inclination. Vayadati et yitzru, I know his yetzer. I know the direction he's going. I know the difficulties he chases. Yetzer is like a framing from the building context. I know the frame. I know how he's built. I know where he's level and plumb and straight, and I know where he's not. I know where he's weak, where he's deformed, where I know each individual soul, where they have been warped by weather and circumstances, where they have been formed into knots, hard places. I know where they've been scarred by wars and traumas and betrayals, bereavements. I know where they've been poorly put together, thrown together hurriedly. He knows our yetzer. Beloved, he knows your yetzer. He knows your inclination. He knows your weakness. And he wants you to have a chance to overcome all those things. So let's kind of give a topical outline or a flow chart for this parsha. Let's go through it sequence by sequence as we look at Moshe's last day and our preparation for Yom Kippur. Moshe's final download will be done as he's walking from place to place, from tribe to tribe. This will be his last time to go out. He said, I'm 120 years old, and I will no longer walk in and walk out among your tribes. I'm going back to the tabernacle, and then I'm going up to Mount Nebo, and it's going to be over. Moshe's final download. Vayelech Moshe v'daber ha'devarim ha'ele el kol Yisrael. Moshe's last words, last download. Then he's going to hand the baton to Yehoshua. The second part will be when he hands the baton of leadership and of authority over the nation to Yehoshua. Then the third part will be when he writes and delivers the scroll to the priest, the Kohani. Then it'll be when he gives the mitzvah of Kahakahel, how to gather in the 7th year and read the Torah from stem to stern. Then he will receive his Hen Karavu announcement, behold, the day of your death is upon you, has overtaken you. And then there will be a divine download of a divine encounter shared between Moshe and Yehoshua. Yehoshua will begin to experience these divine encounters at this moment. And the Holy One's going to warn both of them that the nation will fail. He knows it in advance. Before he ever started, before he ever called us, he knew the nation would have failings, that many would stray. Most would stray. There would be a great diaspora. There would have to be a great discipline and a great chastening to bring the nation back. And then Moshe will be inspired to write this song, the bookend of the Song of the Sea. Then Moshe will give one last inspirational charge, direction to Yehoshua to inspire him to be bold and be strong and not be afraid. And then Moshe will deliver the scroll to the Levites so they can put it in the ark. And it will be a testimony unto Israel forever and ever. And all generations will be able to access it. And then Moshe will begin to prepare to sing his great prophetic song, the Shir. Second theme. Adonai Elohecha hu over lefanecha, the Holy One, your God. It is He who will go before you, walk alongside you. Hu yashmid el hagoim ha'ele mel lefanecha, who will wipe out, who will disperse those nations that you face, that look at you in the face. Verishtam, and you will shake them loose from this land and dispossess them. Ve'asal Adonai Elahem, and the Holy One will do to them ka'asher asal le'sikon le'og, as he did to Sihon and to Og, Malkei ha'emari, the kings of the Amorites. Ulard sent him asher hishmid otam, and unto their land. All these he overthrew. Unatanam Adonai lefnechem, and the Holy One will deliver all these before you, deliver them up before you. And that you will be allowed to do to them whatever the mitzvah of the Holy One's Torah tells you to do. Don't do what your flesh would want you to do. Don't behave toward them the way your pseudo-intellect or your ideological opinions or your offenses might dictate. Only do according to the ways and the will of the Holy One. Chizku v'imtzu al tiru. Be strong. And do not be afraid. Do not fear them. Ve'al ta'atsu mipenehem. Don't be afraid of their countenances and their faces. Ki Adonai Elohecha hu ha'holech imach. For the Holy One, your God, He walks with you. He goes wherever you go. Lo yarteka ve'lo ya'azareka. He will not fail you. He will not leave you, nor will He forsake you. With that in mind, and we kind of get an idea of where we're going with this parsha, let's do our call to worship, and then we'll get into the details specifically. The call to worship is the Baraku. Sing it with me, if you know it. Baku Adonai Hamvorak, Baruch Adonai Hamvorak, Leolam Bayet. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amin, V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai, Noten HaTorah. Amen. So be it. And now would you open our eyes, O Holy One, that we may see wondrous things, secret wisdom encoded in your Torah, for we are just strangers in this earth. So please do not hide your instructions for living a well-lived life from us. And now it's time to gather around again, beloved children of the Most High. The storyteller is chomping at the bit. He's out going out walking and talking as he goes, and it's story time again. Context. The last 6 weeks, the last 9 weeks of our study, Moshe's last words have been ringing throughout the plains of Moab. He has been downloading to us everything he can think of to download of his experience with the Holy One over the past 40 years, as he's walked with him, as he's talked to him face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, as he's received revelation, wisdom, understanding, and training and discipline daily and weekly and monthly over that 40 years. The last 6 weeks of time spent on the plains of Moab have been times of just pouring out by Moshe. His tongue has been loosed, but soon the gavel would come down and his tongue would fall silent. So he says in last week's Parsha, we ended last week's Parsha with his great solemn charge to the nation as he gets ready to have his voice silenced forever. He says, I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and your seed may have the fullest ventures of life, the fullest levels of life, the highest priorities of life, that you may love the Holy One, your God, and that you may shema, always listen to and resonate with his voice and his words, that you may cling to him personally, be intimate with him, and he is your life, that he will become your life to you and the length of your days, so that you may dwell in the land that the Holy One swore to give to your fathers, to Abraham and to Yitzhak and to Yaakov. That was the final message of last week. That's where we begin on the last day of Moshe's life. Vayelech Moshe. And Moshe walked. Moshe went out walking. Vayadaber et hadevarim ha'eleh. And he spoke all these substantive matters, El Kol Yisrael, unto the whole host of Israel. Vayelech Moshe, he went out. He shared the briefing that he received. He was not going to go silent, go quiet into that good night. He instead prepared to say everything the Holy One had given him to say. All these words. The farewell discourses were summarized again. Everything he'd said over the past 6 weeks, he said again to the extent he could. All the discourses, the 4 discourses, the call to covenant, everything was repeated in the ears of everyone who would listen in the camp. He went out. And he said, Ben mea ve'ezrim shana achnoki hayom. I am 120 years old today. Lo uchal od latzet velavo. And I will go out and I will come in no more. This is my farewell tour. Also, the Holy One has said to me, Lo ta'avor, you will not cross over this Jordan River. The Holy One, your God himself, therefore, will cross over before you. Moshe tells the people. He will shema, he will lay waste to the nations that stand before you. And he will yarash, he will seize and occupy and repopulate them with you. And Yehoshua himself will be the one who crosses over before you, just as the Holy One has said. Hisku ve'imtzu hazak, be strong. Bind ropes or guy wires tightly together and securely. Batten everything down. Gird up your souls, your mind, your wills, emotion. Get ready for what's about to take place. And walk it out like Moshe is doing, Vayelech. Walk it out, holding fast to the Holy One. Hazak and amatz, or imsu as the phrasing goes. Be on high alert. This is important. Be sober. Be swift in response and reaction. Be ready to act upon a moment's notice. And yara, el tiru, do not be afraid. Do not tremble. That al ta'arsu, don't even shake or tremble before their faces. Remember this, the Holy One, your God, he is the one who will walk before you and with you. And he will not cast you off. He will not let you fall away. He will not let go of you. He will not loosen the bonds or the harness. He will not set you free. He will not put you out to pasture. He will not write you off. He will be with you to the end. This is Moshe's encouragement. And Moshe says specifically to Yehoshua, we should say to whoever's going to write the song when we're gone, be strong and of good courage, be bold, for you are the one who will take this message and lead these people into the land that the Holy One has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you will cause them to inherit it. You have a mission and a calling. Always remind your children, your children's children, and those who you mentor that they have a calling and a covenant with the Creator of the universe, and there is a grand plan afoot, and they are a part of it, called to play an essential role in it. And then Moshe will deliver the scrolls. He will write everything down, every word the Holy One spoke to him, every adventure, every story that he has to tell, he will write it down. Those things we need to know. The generations to come need to know them, and Moshe will write them down for us for posterity. Vayitov Moshe et ha-Torah hazot, and Moshe inscribed and wrote on paper or on papyrus or on scrolls the things of the Torah. And then he delivers it to the Kohanim, the priests, and to the elders of the tribes. Those are the custodians of these great stories. Thank you for the custodians, and thank you, custodians, for your faithful service in maintaining the integrity of the Torah scrolls, even to our life, thousands of years later. And for our children and our children's children as well. Thank you. Now, we have the mitzvah of the kahel, the time every 7 years to read this Torah story to every man, woman, and child, and every foreigner who comes within our gates. This is supposed to be our message. The Torah is our life. The ways of the Holy One are our ways, and they are prescribed ways according to the Torah. And so we have this mission, we have this mitzvah, this last main instruction of Moshe is to actually have a sequence where every generation will hear the Torah. It will happen in a cycle of sevens. Now we see in the actual writing that it's a 7 shana, the shavi shana. The idea of a shana, we think of it as year in our modern parlance in English, but in Hebrew, a shana just means a recurring cycle, like the cycle of the sun, the cycle of the moon, the cycle of the seasons. So now, if we go to the fact that every seventh, let's talk about a day, the cycle of the earth around the sun. Now, if you focus on the earth and its revolutions in front of the sun, if you think about this, then we understand why we have the Torah portions set up the way they are. Because we're supposed to, every seventh day, we're supposed to be reading a portion of it. We're breaking it down, the 7-year thing, into little bite-sized portions and doing it every week. So find a way to communicate the Torah to your children and your children's children. Find a way to make it a constant state of subject of meditation for you, and of consideration for you, and of application for you. Don't ever let it be put on a shelf and just be something else out there that you remember, some written religious tome or creed somewhere. No, this is your life. This is your opportunity to have impact upon the world the way you were designed to do so, to live and model to the world a more excellent way. So that's the idea of the mitzvah of kahel. How are you doing on that, beloved? How is Torah working its way into your story? And how is your story working Torah out in the real life, in the world? All right. Now, the Holy One had Moshe say, gather the people together, men and women and little ones, toddlers, and the stranger who is within your gates, that they may shema, that they may what? Why are we doing this? So that they may shema, that people may begin to resonate with the sound of the voice and know the sound of the voice of the Holy One and respond to it. And that they may learn to fear, to revere, to cherish the Holy One, their God, and to carefully treasure and cherish and observe all the words of the Torah, which are like life and like the light of the world. And that they may shema and learn to fear the Holy One as a persona, as a God, and to do so as long as we live in the land that we're crossing the Jordan River to possess. As long as there is a horizon or is there a hope of redemption, the Torah will be our focus. The covenant perpetuating protocol goes like this. Tikra et ha-Torah hazot neged kol Yisrael be'ozanim. Call forth, read out loud the Torah, every portion of it. Tell the story to all Israel, into every one of their ears. Hakahel et ha'am. Yes, the gathering of all the people. Ha'anashim, the men. V'hanishim, the women. V'hatav, the toddlers. V'gerka asher basareka, the strangers, the foreigners, the aliens within your gates. Lema'an yishmeu, that they may shema Israel. Ulma'an yilmedu ve'yaru et Adonai Elohekum, and that they may learn to fear and revere the Holy One, their God. V'shameru la'asot el kol divrei haTorah hazot, and they will learn to treasure and cherish and carefully guard and watch over and fulfill every word of this Torah. Uvnehem asher lo yadu, and even those children who come along who have not known him yet, yishmeyu, that they may tune in and resonate as well as their time comes, and they hear the messages of the Torah spoken. V'lamedu le'yira et Adonai Elohekum, and teach them to fear the Holy One, their God. Well, then Moshe wrote the Torah, and thank heaven he did. And thank heaven we still have it, and we still read it. So he wrote the Torah, he delivered it to the Kohanim, the priests, the sons of Levi, who bore the Ark of the Covenant, and to all the elders of Israel. And he charged them, saying, do this every 7 years. Make sure that everyone hears, everyone knows, in all generations forever. Now Moshe also warns us that toward the end of the days, as he begins to put on his prophet's hat, he begins to see ahead and tell us what to watch out for and be aware of. He says, behold, this people will rise up and will play the harlot. They will adulterate. They will improperly mix with the world and with the gods of the foreigners of the land, which they go to be among them when they are cast out. And they will forsake me. They will loosen their bonds from me. And they will break, shatter in pieces my covenant. They will break it into middle pieces, and they will not see the whole of what it is. They'll just be focused on fragments and little portions of it. And they will break. They will break into, shatter into pieces my covenant that I've made with them. That's what's going to happen. And when that happens, he says, this is what the Holy One's going to say. My anger will be aroused against them in that day. And I will forsake them momentarily, and I will hide, I will conceal my face from them for a while. And they will feel like they're being swallowed up, eaten alive, and many calamities will overtake and pursue and befall them. And in that day, it will be as if I surely hid my face from them because of all the the self-absorption, the self-possession, the self-obsession that they are engaged in, because of all the evil, the that they have done when they sought the face and the company and the companionship of other gods and people of other gods. And it will come to pass, he says, that's not going to be the end. It will come to pass when many evils and troubles have come upon them, that this song that I'm giving you, Moshe, this song will testify unto them as a witness, for it will not be forgotten in the mouths of their seed forever. You see, the redemption is the goal. Redemption is the objective. Grace and mercy are the ways, and the calling to Teshuvah, coming back home, coming back to the Father, coming back to his ways, coming back to his Torah, coming back to his will, coming back to his land, coming back to his plan. That's the message. For it will not be forgotten in the mouths of their seed. So what is this song that Moshe is writing? This scroll that he's writing. What are these scrolls in this song supposed to be about? They're a witness, they're a testimony, a song, a testimony of forgiveness, a testimony of enduring covenant, a testimony of great, powerful love, a testimony that the Holy One wants us to know that even when we turn away from him and go away in ways that modeled after the nations, even when we do that, he knew in advance that we would. And he chose us anyway. And he betrothed himself to us anyway. And he committed everything about the plan of the Holy One and the plan for the redemption of mankind as a species and the restoration of creation into our hands anyway. And he will redeem. And he will restore. Hallelujah. The Holy One wants us to know that his covenant with us and his promises are not dependent upon our perfection or even our constant fidelity. They are not dependent upon our obedience in any given situation. They transcend that. The promises are for his will and his plan, are for his glory, not for ours. And they are based in his eternal plan, not in our performance. So Moshe says, after my death, he tells Israel, he tells us all, after my death, you will become utterly corrupt. And you will turn aside from the way that I've commanded you. And when that happens, evil, will befall you in the latter days because you will do things that are evil, self-absorbed. You will do things in the sight of the Holy One that provoke him through the works of your hands. But even with that knowledge, Moshe says to Yehoshua, be strong, stand strong, remain strong, draw strength from the Holy One, be strong and be of good courage, for you will bring Israel, Bnei Israel, the seed of Israel, into the land concerning which I swore to them, and I will be with you. Despite all that we've done, despite all that we will do, despite all the idolatry, but despite all the selfishness, but despite all the despite all the evil that we may do as we try to not follow the ways of the Holy One and emulate the nations' ways instead, they're all perverse. So everything we get from the nations is perverse. Even after that, though, he will bring us into the land concerning which he swore to us, and he will be with us, and the great regathering will take place. And so it was then when Moshe had completed writing the words, the Devarim of this Torah in a scroll, he commanded the Leviim, who bore the Ark of the Covenant of the Holy One, saying, take now this book of the Torah, put it beside the Ark of the Covenant of the Holy One your God, and let it abide there forever as a testimony, as a witness in regard to you. Well, and with that, Moshe feels a song coming on. The Holy One says to him, now therefore, va'ata kitzvu lachem et hashira hazot, write down this song for yourselves. He's to write it down. He's to teach it to all Bnei Israel. And he's to put it in our mouths and let it not depart from us all the days of the world's existence. This is our story. This is our song. It's a matter of witness protection. The Holy One wants us to know this song well and to sing the song. Both the Song of the Sea, the prelude, and the afterlude, the Song of Moshe in chapter 32. It's a divine witness protection. He wants to sing the song and know the song so it will serve as a witness to us and to the world. Well, that's our Parsha for the week. Parsha Vayelech, Moshe's last day upon the earth, before the hammer or the gavel comes down. As we prepare now for Yom Kippur, we model ourselves after Moshe. What would we do if we had 24 hours or less to live? What would be our approach? What would we do to tell our story, to make sure that before we fell silent from death, we spoke the words of life to those we care about the most? What will we do? How will we approach that? That's our mission. That's our challenge for Yom Kippur coming up later this week. Before we end for the day, I want to remind you of the Haftarah. As we did last week, I want to conclude our discussions with a little bit from the prophets, from Isaiah 55 and 56. The prophet says, seek the Holy One while he may be found, while you have life in you, while you have brain power and strength and breath. Seek the Holy One while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked, the Rasha, those who are full of Ra, and they think only of Ra. Let the wicked forsake his ways of Ra, and the unrighteous man let him forsake his thoughts. Let them all return, make shuvah to the Holy One, and he will have mercy. He will have mercy on him. And return to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. For his thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. That's what the Holy One says. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways, the Holy One says, higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. For as the rain comes down and the snow from heaven and do not return there, but water the earth and make it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, even so will my word be that goes forth from my mouth. It will not return to me without accomplishing its purpose, but it will accomplish what I desire, and it will prosper in everything for which I sent it. And you, what will happen to you in the latter days? For you will go out with joy, and will be led forth with peace, with shalom. The mountains and the hills of earth will break forth into singing before you, the restoration of all things. And the trees of the field will clap their hands. Instead of the thorn will come up the cypress tree. The curse of Eden will be reversed. Instead of the thorn and the thistle will come up the cypress tree. And instead of the briar will come up the myrtle. And it will be to the Holy One for a praise, a renown, an everlasting sign of his goodness that will not be cut off or terminated. And therefore the Holy One says, this is the message of the prophet, keep mishpat, keep the wisdom of the Holy One and his directions about specific things and how to fix things. And make and build tzedakah, that which is balanced and level, that which will be a foundation for the good things of the heavens to come. Keep mishpat and make and build tzedakah, for my salvation, my Yeshuati, is about to come to you. And my tzedakah, my righteousness, my ways of building upon the kingdom is about to be revealed. Well, that's our message for today. Shabbat shalom. I'll see you next week.